The elderly janitor slowly bent down to pick up a stack of papers that had been knocked onto the polished office floor. Dozens of employees hurried past without even glancing at him. One manager rolled his eyes in annoyance, while another stepped around him as if he didn't exist. Just when it seemed the old man would struggle alone, a young trainee dropped her own files, knelt beside him, and quietly helped gather every scattered page with a warm smile. She had no idea that the quiet janitor wasn't a janitor at all. He was the billionaire CEO who owned every floor of the building, and for the first time in years, someone had treated him like a person instead of a title. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances still exist, please take a moment to like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel. Every act of support helps our community continue sharing stories that remind us humanity still matters. At 54 years old, Sterling Ashford had built one of the most respected technology companies in the country. Newspapers described him as brilliant but distant. Employees knew him only through company emails and annual meetings because he rarely walked through the offices without executives surrounding him. After receiving anonymous reports that arrogance and disrespect had quietly spread throughout the workplace, Sterling made an unusual decision. Instead of launching another investigation, he disguised himself as a temporary janitor named Walter. Wearing simple work clothes, glasses, and a gray wig, he planned to spend 1 week cleaning offices while observing how people treated those they believed had no power. From the very first morning, the results were painful. Employees ignored greetings, left overflowing trash bins without a second thought, and complained loudly whenever the floors weren't spotless. Some managers spoke to him without making eye contact. Others blamed him for messes they had created themselves. Sterling had spent years building a company that promised respect and integrity, yet he now watched those values disappear in ordinary daily moments. On the 3rd floor worked a new trainee named Corinne Whitlock, a 23-year-old recent college graduate. She had moved to the city after caring for her grandmother through a long illness. Though she possessed remarkable talent, She lacked expensive clothes, influential connections, and confidence. Many trainees competed aggressively for promotions, but Corinne quietly believed that success meant very little if kindness disappeared along the way. Every morning she greeted Walter with a cheerful smile. She thanked him for keeping the office clean, picked up coffee cups others abandoned, and often shared part of her lunch when she noticed he skipped breaks. She never asked about his past or judged his uniform. To her, every person deserved the same respect. Sterling found himself looking forward to those brief conversations more than any executive meeting. One sunny afternoon Corinne discovered Walter sitting alone in the employee courtyard, carefully repairing the torn strap on his old lunch bag with thread and a tiny sewing kit. Rather than pretending not to notice, she quietly offered to help. They spent nearly half an hour stitching the fabric together while talking about life, dreams, and the importance of never measuring someone's worth by their paycheck. Walter asked why she always treated him so kindly. Corinne simply smiled. She explained that her grandmother had once cleaned office buildings for nearly 30 years. As a little girl, she often accompanied her after school and watched people ignore the woman who worked harder than almost anyone else. Her grandmother always reminded her that character is revealed by how someone treats the person who can do nothing for them. Those words stayed with Sterling long after the conversation ended. As the week continued, he witnessed something even more troubling. Corinne's supervisor repeatedly took credit for her ideas during meetings. Other trainees excluded her from networking lunches because she couldn't afford expensive restaurants. Still, she refused to become bitter. She quietly congratulated others on their achievements and continued helping anyone who needed assistance. One afternoon, while cleaning a conference room, Walter accidentally overheard two executives discussing plans to dismiss Corinne at the end of her training period. They considered her too quiet to represent the company, despite consistently producing the strongest work. That evening Sterling sat alone in his office after everyone had gone home. Removing the gray wig, He stared out at the city skyline and questioned whether he had unknowingly allowed a culture of appearances to replace the values on which he had built the company decades earlier. Friday finally arrived. Employees gathered inside the large auditorium for the weekly company meeting. Rumors spread that the mysterious CEO would appear in person for an important announcement. Walter quietly pushed his cleaning cart toward the back of the room. Several managers immediately complained that the janitor didn't belong inside such an important meeting. Before anyone could escort him away, Walter calmly parked the cart, removed his glasses, pulled off the gray wig, and straightened his posture. The room fell into complete silence. Within seconds, every employee recognized the face staring back at them. It was Sterling Ashford. Shock swept through the auditorium. Some employees looked down in embarrassment. Others suddenly remembered every careless word they had spoken throughout the week. Sterling didn't begin with anger. Instead, he spoke about dignity. He described how invisible a person can become when others believe they hold no authority. He explained that the company's greatest failure wasn't declining profits or missed deadlines. It was forgetting that every cleaner, receptionist, intern, technician, and executive deserved equal respect. Then he surprised everyone again. He invited Corinne onto the stage. She looked completely overwhelmed. Sterling shared how she had treated a stranger with compassion every single day without expecting recognition or reward. He explained that leadership begins long before someone receives a title. It begins in ordinary moments when nobody important appears to be watching. The audience erupted into applause. Many employees wiped away tears. Corinne wasn't promoted because she had been kind. She was promoted because her talent had already earned it. Her kindness simply revealed the character needed to lead others. Sterling also announced sweeping cultural changes throughout the company. Anonymous feedback systems were improved. Every executive would spend one day each quarter working alongside frontline employees. Leadership training would now include empathy, respect, and servant leadership rather than focusing only on profits and performance. The weeks that followed transformed the workplace. Managers began learning employees' names instead of simply their job titles. Break rooms became places where everyone shared the same tables. Small acts of gratitude slowly replaced habits of entitlement. Corinne continued working with the same quiet humility that had first caught Sterling's attention. She mentored new trainees, remembered birthdays, encouraged struggling co-workers, and proved every day that genuine leadership never seeks attention. Months later, the company received national recognition, not for record-breaking revenue, but for becoming one of the country's best workplaces. Reporters asked Sterling what caused such an extraordinary transformation. He smiled before answering. It wasn't a billion-dollar strategy. It began with one young woman who chose kindness when everyone else chose convenience. Before we reach the end of this story, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment telling us whether you believe a person's true character is revealed by how they treat those who can offer nothing in return. Your words may inspire someone to choose kindness today. One bright afternoon, Sterling quietly walked through the headquarters without security or executives surrounding him. Employees greeted him warmly, but they also greeted every cleaner, receptionist, maintenance worker, and trainee with the very same respect. Watching those simple interactions, he realized the company had finally become the place he had dreamed of building many years earlier. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Together, our community can continue proving that the strongest leaders are not remembered for the power they hold, but for the humanity they show to every person they meet.